do with insurance companies. You get the care that the doctors think you need. End of discussion.
What about the propaganda with Canada where you have to wait for a procedure? Great question. It is entirely due to right-wingers in Canada, both on the Liberal government and also the Conservatives, underfunding the social safety nets. Deliberately, mind you, so that people get resentment and develop resentment towards socialized medicine with the direct goal of trying to privatize key aspects of the industry, which is already happening in certain parts of Canada too. Like, this is a deliberate method. You consistently underfund government-funded healthcare. It becomes unmanageable. People start dying. They develop resentment towards these institutions. They start saying, what the f is going on? Like, I can't get paid enough. Nurses and doctors are angry. They don't get paid enough. There's not enough staff on payroll on top of that. And then ultimately, the solution is privatization. They're doing this with the NHS. They're trying to do this with the NHS. They're trying to do this with socialized medicine in general. Also, waiting is not for immediate life-saving. Like, you don't go into the hospital emergency room with a gunshot wound and they go, oh, come back in like, 3 weeks. That's not how this goes. Wait lists are for procedures, oftentimes elective procedures, or rather procedures that are still life-saving. It's still life-saving procedures, but it's not like immediate. You know what I mean? Like getting a hip replacement. So the question at that point becomes, would you rather wait a month or two to get this hip replacement? Or would you rather be able to get the hip replacement, maybe, if you have enough to pay for it, and then have a lifetime of medical debt as a consequence of it? Try to 69 months. Like I said, the waitlist part of the equation absolutely has everything to do with underfunding. There's obviously a finite amount of time and resources that you can spend on this process. So if there's a finite amount of time and resources, there's an allocation of resources that occurs. In the United States of America, the allocation of resources is not distributed by need, who needs this immediately, but by who can pay for it. Dynamic under capitalism is that the wealthy person's cat takes first priority over a hungry human. If there's only 2 bags of food, the wealthy person can buy a bag of food for themselves and a bag of food for their cat before you get a bag of food at all. In a socialist distribution, obviously, cuts would need to be made if there was a, this is a reductive argument, but if there was a cut that needed to be made, both humans would get a bag of food instead of the cat. No disrespect to the cat lovers in the chat and dog lovers as well. It's just that, like, give the cat some of your food. You know what I'm saying? There's obviously also waitlisting in the United States of America as well. There's also another problem in the United States of America, which is like lack of access to care at all in rural areas. Rural hospitals have shut down all around the country. Okay. As we were talking about yesterday, medevacs are becoming more and more commonplace, like helicoptering patients, which is insanely expensive. It's just really up. It's really bad. And the irony, of course, is that these kinds of like anti-socialist, hyper-capitalist measures are first and foremost gutting and eviscerating and destroying rural areas, which happen to vote consistently anti-socialist and consistently Republican. Isn't that crazy? As material conditions worsen, you become more and more reactionary, and the conservatives fill that gap with, I don't know, Mexicans are actually stealing your healthcare or whatever kind of narratives, and people tend to believe it. Look no further than West Virginia if you want to see how that works.
You want to hear something else crazy about the private insurance system? You work for a big corporation, okay? They give you good health insurance. He works for McDonald's. That's pretty crazy. Where you work determines the kind of health care you get. Anyway, so we go from 65 down to 55, 55 next year down to 45, 45 to 35, 40 you cover everybody. Absorption. So you have a Medicare system that covers all people.
This is so funny. People will go, there's no dental in Sweden, it's privatized. Bro, that doesn't mean it's a good thing. Wouldn't you want dental to also be covered? I'm a firm, committed believer that if the Democratic Party didn't get in the way of Bernie Sanders, and there was like a Kamala Harris style situation that occurred this time around, but with Bernie Sanders in 2016, which obviously is laughable, it would never happen, we would have experienced 8 phenomenal years of prosperity.
Well, I mean, I think it could be that we're not taking as good care of ourselves.
Okay.
And I think it could be that, that we don't have as good health care.
All right, I think that's 2 out of 3. All right, now here, there are 2 facts. Japan, other countries will live 4 or 5 years, 6 years longer than we do. That's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they'll live, I forgot what it is.
8% or something.
Yeah, right. It's a lot. But here's another fact that is really unbelievable. It's not just that we live shorter lives despite spending so much on healthcare. The gap between the 1% and working class is 10. If you're rich, you'll live as long as people in other countries. You live a long life, in the 80s or whatever it is. If you're working class, you're going to live 10 years younger. How does that happen, do you think?
Wow. Because just stress,
burnout, lack of access to medicine, terrible dietary habits as well, which is not influenced by individual responsibility at all, but instead lack of access to education surrounding food deserts, and also obviously work conditions that cause you not to be able to have your own, cook your own food or whatever, disability born out of your place of work that isn't properly protected due to lack of labor regulations, poor work conditions, lead in your water pipes, infrastructure. Lack of sleep is another major reason for why the life expectancy is much lower for working class Americans. There's a multitude of different reasons. It's just that like all of them are bad. And it's sometimes things that you would not even consider to be a problem. I'll give you an example. Walkable cities. The American cities are designed around vehicles. American cities do not have an adequate public transit. When there's not enough adequate public transit, everybody is car reliant. Car reliant infrastructure is deadly because when there's no public transit, there's no reason to walk. When there's no reason to walk, you just drive everywhere. When you drive everywhere, you end up becoming fatter. It's that you would not even consider, that you would never even think that plays a significant role in Americans being massively obese. It also then contributes to air pollution. It contributes to car accidents. Car manufacturers make nice profits at the end of that bargain.
I know you guys had launched an investigation even because this is kind of current about Ozempic, right? And the cost of Ozempic in different countries. Because I was dating a girl, not dating, but we met up a couple times at night or whatever. And it's like,
man, you're talking to Bernie Sanders, bro. Come on, dude. That's Bernard Sanders, dude. Yo, I'm hitting this, right? Hey, Bernie, I'm hitting this, right? This broad. We're dating, right? We was just talking.
They're going to have to come then and sit down and negotiate with Medicare price. That is, by the way, what the Veterans Administration does. The VA in America does a good job.
Yeah.
They don't pay outrageous prices. They negotiate, and that's what Medicare is beginning to do.
Yeah, if you can't breathe, I mean, yeah, you're almost a fish if you can't breathe, Let's talk about some political. Oh, and the price transparency, that's happening now? Like people have to show their prices or they don't?
No, they don't. We still haven't passed that bill.
Okay. Do you think it's going to happen?
It's a popular bill. I think we have a good shot to get it done.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, man, it makes me just sick because somebody's already sick.
Can you imagine if there was I don't know, like one of the major parties running on this, dude? The only people I've ever encountered that are anti-Medicare for all are online. They're on Reddit. I've never in the real world, Trump Republican, MAGA conservative, liberal, whatever, I've never actually met a single person that's like, yeah, no, that would suck actually. It's so crazy. My boyfriend's parents think if you're unhealthy, it's your fault and they shouldn't have to pay for it. Let me guess, they're fat too. And most likely are going to die to heart disease and are already on their way to become diabetic. It's always the least healthy who are like, yo, you know what? If you are unhealthy, that's your goddamn problem.
Or just a current candidacy. I wanted, in 2020, I believe that's when you ran, I wanted you and Donald Trump to be on the same ticket, right? That was a thought.
Bro, look at Bernie's face. Dude, Theo Von, dude. He's so dumb. Oh my God. Hey, listen, God bless his soul, okay? He's something else, dude. He is something. I've never seen Bernie make that face before. That's so hilarious. Oh my God. Bro, we ain't got no education in this country. I swear. Oh my God. Oh, that's a child left behind right there. God damn.
In my mind, I'm just a regular guy. I don't know a ton about politics, right? I felt both y'all were outliers, right? That's how it seemed to me. These guys.
I love like this because this community is so incredibly invested in politics. I think sometimes it's important to hear someone who obviously isn't a normal person by any means, but absolutely represents the median voter. This is common, way more common than you think. I thought it was a joke as a comedian. He's not joking. He is not even joking a little bit. You could not find the most perfect average American take. God, I love this. This is so great.
Both outliers. They're both.
I love chatters being like, no, he's joking. He's not joking, man. He's not. You're so, bro, he is not joking.
Because they don't feel like, and they lose their sense of purpose. Man, when you lose the fabric of your society, a lot of people, that's how they didn't even realize it. A lot of us don't realize that's we identify as an American. And when you realize, well, America's nothing, but it's a shell LLC for big corporations, then what am I? I'm just a.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, you could have this conversation. Every average American starts talking like a communist revolutionary after describing, I don't know, 3 different ways in which like the American for-profit system has harmed them. This is why there's so much opportunity. There's so much opportunity to like truly talk to these people and change their minds. The regular dudes in Louisiana, Tennessee, Alabama, like they see this too. Problem is the Republicans actually very effectively channel that frustration back to like big pharma is making you gay by giving you vaccines. They're doing gender. And then the liberals are like, oh, shut up, you mountain person. You're stupid. And also better things are not possible and we can't actually get free healthcare. How dare you talk about reducing the profit margins for major corporations by 1% in an effort to make people's lives better? Like, in an effort to make like working class people's lives or work at those corporations' lives better.
And maybe they're, nurses and business people.
Yeah, anything. Crossing guard, mailman.
Right, exactly. They believe in their community.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they get ripped off by people on top politically and economically.
Well, even the radio, like you're saying, it's like you used to have like a newspaper and you ran it meant something. Your community meant something. It used to be that your grandpa worked at the factory and they made the table that you have in your home. And so everything had a story to it. There's some connection. And now it's like we're buying stuff from countries that they're making it. They don't care. We're using it. We don't care. There's no story. Nobody has any like.
He's arriving at like the most spiritual way of describing alienation, which is crazy. Like a Marxist principle. He's describing it very well, but also doing it in a way where it is the most unmaterialist. It's awesome. I rarely ever get to hear Bernie Sanders walk like a Norman through the steps of like basic Marxist theory. This is a treat.
Thanks so much for your time, man.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just say this. Congratulations on your program. And what programs like this do, I'm on TV a lot.
I love how old he is. Congratulations on your program.